Adewale's eyes were steady, sincere, and unwavering as he addressed her. Mother Folake, I have come to ask for Busola's hand in marriage. I may not be wealthy, but I work hard, and I will care for her properly. For several moments, complete stillness filled the courtyard. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath, anticipating what would unfold. Then, like lightning splitting the heavens, Mother Folake erupted in mocking laughter. Ah! She clapped her hands dramatically. Did my ears hear correctly? A mere fisherman wishes to wed my daughter? Miracles will never cease in this town. Her daughter Busola stood behind her, arms crossed. Look at yourself, Adewale, Mother Folake continued, her gaze sweeping from his weathered sandals to his patched clothing. What can you offer? A leaking boat and empty hands? My daughter will wed royalty, not someone reeking of river catch. Busola scoffed loudly. You have no dignity, Adewale. Don't you understand my worth? I could never lower myself to marry someone as poor as you. The harsh words struck Adewale like physical blows, yet he remained standing, his posture dignified. He had heard rumors about Busola's pride, but he had hoped that beneath her attractive exterior there might be humility. He had been mistaken. Adewale inhaled deeply and nodded respectfully. I understand, Mother. I shall depart now. But Mother Folake was not done. She spun around sharply and called out, Amara! Amara, come forward! From the shadows of the courtyard, a slender young woman with weary features and sorrowful eyes stepped forward, still clutching her broom. Her dress was faded, her feet covered in dust, and her hands showed years of hard labor. She was lovely, more lovely than Busola, in fact. But her beauty lay hidden beneath hardship and quietness. Amara halted several steps away, avoiding direct eye contact, her pulse racing. She understood that nothing favorable ever resulted from her stepmother summoning her this way. Mother Folake sneered and gestured toward her. Since you're seeking a bride, Adewale, and you believe you can walk into my home penniless and claim my daughter, here. She waved dismissively. Take Amara. She's available. She's nobody's child anyway. You may marry her. After all, one unfortunate soul deserves another. Amara felt shock ripple through her. Her legs weakened as humiliation crept over her skin. Adewale raised his eyes and truly observed Amara for the first time, and what he witnessed made something tighten in his chest. Her beauty was distinct, subtle, gentle, like a blossom struggling to flourish among thorns. Yet beyond her appearance, profound sadness lived in her gaze. He shifted his attention back to Mother Folake. Is she your daughter? She's my deceased husband's child, Mother Folake stated coldly. Her mother perished during childbirth, and her father followed soon after. I've been burdened with her worthless existence since infancy. She has nothing, Mother Folake added cruelly. No family, no wealth, no beauty compared to my Busola. If you must marry someone from this household, take her and leave. Adewale remained quiet for an extended moment, his gaze fixed on Amara. She dared not look up. Tears gathered in her eyes, threatening to spill. Then Adewale spoke quietly but with conviction. I will marry her. Amara's head jerked up in astonishment. She stared at Adewale as though he had spoken an unknown language. Mother Folake burst into laughter again. Ah! It's true what people say, the poor flock together. Fisherman and servant girl. A perfect pairing. Busola hissed and strode away without sparing Adewale another glance. Adewale stepped closer to Amara, lowering his voice. I will return in 3 market days to speak with your family. Mother Folake, prepare her. Before anyone could respond, Adewale departed. Amara stood motionless, unable to move. Her ears rang, her heart pounded. She had never imagined her life taking this turn. Throughout her existence, she had dreamed of freedom, of escaping mother's cruelty. But now freedom resembled a cage wrapped in marriage to a stranger. That evening, Amara sat beneath the mango tree, weeping silently. What she didn't realize was that destiny had already begun weaving a tale far greater than her tears, a tale that would shake the entire village of Ile-Ife. Adewale had arrived in Ile-Ife 6 months prior. He claimed to have returned to his mother's hometown seeking better opportunities. He settled quickly and began fishing, but fortune did not favor him. He caught very few fish, which left him impoverished. The appointed day arrived swiftly. Adewale came to the compound dressed in simple attire. He brought 2 elders with him. They carried a small keg of palm wine, several yams, and a modest sum for the traditional door-knocking ceremony. Mother Folktale welcomed them with artificial smiles. She had summoned her late husband's younger brother beforehand. They all gathered and performed the formalities while Mother Folktale made sarcastic remarks throughout. Amara stood quietly behind the kitchen wall, listening as her future was negotiated without her input. No one inquired about her feelings. No one cared. The wedding date was set for the next market day, just 3 days away. Mother Folktale wasted no time. Once the guests departed, she turned to Amara. "You will marry Adewale whether you approve or not. I don't wish to see your face in this house anymore. You're nothing but a burden." 3 days passed in a haze. The traditional marriage ceremony was modest, no drums, no dancing, no village feast. Just a few elders, the exchange of palm wine, and quiet prayers murmured beneath the baobab tree. Amara wore a simple wrapper and borrowed blouse. There was no happiness in her eyes, no smile on her lips. When Adewale stepped forward and took her hand, she barely acknowledged him. She felt hollow inside, like someone walking into darkness without knowing what awaited. As they walked to his small compound by the riverside after the ceremony, the village women whispered behind them, "Such a pity. She will suffer. A poor fisherman's wife is no better than a slave." Adewale remained quiet, saying little as they walked. He glanced at Amara occasionally, noticing how withdrawn she was, how she refused to meet his gaze. When they reached his dwelling, a small mud house with a thatched roof and bamboo fence, he opened the door and stepped aside. "You may enter." Amara stepped inside and looked around. The house was small but tidy. A mat lay spread on the floor, a clay pot of water in one corner, a lantern hanging on the wall. "This is your home now," Adewale said quietly. "I know you didn't choose this marriage. I know you don't know me. But I promise I will never harm you." Amara stood still, tears pooling in her eyes once more. She wanted to speak, but words failed her. Adewale gave her space, leaving her to settle in while he went outside to mend his fishing nets. He worked quietly, glancing back at the house periodically. That night, Amara lay awake, crying uncontrollably. Adewale attempted to console her, but to no avail. Days turned into weeks. The first days of Amara's marriage to Adewale felt like moving through a strange dream from which she couldn't awaken. She moved around the small compound like a visitor, quiet and withdrawn, performing her duties without being told, but never smiling, never laughing. She expected shouting. She expected beatings. She expected insults the way Mother Folktale had always treated her. But none came. Instead, what she received was kindness. Adewale rose before dawn each morning and went to the river to fish. When he returned tired and soaked with perspiration, he would always stop by the small market to purchase Amara a small gift, a piece of fruit, a hair ribbon, a sweet treat. He never raised his voice at her. He never forced himself upon her. He never treated her like a burden. Instead, he treated her like she mattered. One evening, Amara was drawing water from the clay pot outside when Adewale approached her quietly. He stood at a distance, not wanting to startle her. "Amara," he said gently. She turned, her eyes meeting his briefly before looking away. "I want you to know something," he continued. "I didn't marry you because I pitied you. I didn't marry you because I wanted a servant. I married you because the first time I looked into your eyes, I saw a woman worthy of love." Amara's heart skipped. She didn't know how to respond. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. He smiled softly and added, "I know you don't love me yet. I won't force you. All I want is a chance to make you happy." That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She lay awake contemplating Adewale's words. No one had ever wanted to make her happy. In the following weeks, Adewale continued showing her the kind of love she had never known. He taught her how to paddle the canoe, how to mend fishing nets. He made her laugh without even realizing it, like when he tumbled into the river trying to catch a stubborn fish and emerged shivering, looking like a drenched goat. Slowly, without even knowing it, Amara began to change. She started waiting for him at the riverbank when he returned from fishing. She began preparing his favorite meals even when he didn't request them. She started watching him with gentle eyes when he wasn't looking. One evening while they sat outside beneath the mango tree, the moon shining down like a soft lantern, Amara broke the silence. "Adewale," she called out softly. He turned to her quickly, surprised that she spoke first. "Yes. I want to thank you for treating me like a human being. Throughout my entire life, no one ever treated me well. You are the first person to make me feel seen." Adewale's heart melted. He reached out slowly, gently taking her hand. "You deserve more, Amara. You deserve everything." Their eyes met under the moonlight, and for the first time since they married, Amara smiled at him genuinely. That night, as she lay beside him on the mat, she turned slightly toward him and whispered, "I love you." He smiled in the darkness. "I love you too, my wife." They embraced as husband and wife for the first time since their marriage. Gradually, Amara fell deeply in love with her husband. Approximately 3 months after their marriage, there was a loud beating of royal drums in the village. Everyone was surprised because in Ile-Ife, when the royal drums sounded outside of festival days, it signified one thing, an important announcement from the palace. People gathered quickly at the village square as the king's royal messenger stepped forward, dressed in red and white wrappers, holding a long wooden staff. He cleared his throat, his deep voice resonating across the crowd. "Attention, attention, people of Ile-Ife. Gather and listen. The palace brings important news by order of His Royal Majesty, the King. This is the royal decree: the Crown Prince, Oluwaseun, will return from the city in 2 weeks. Upon his return, a grand ceremony will be held at the palace where he will choose a wife from among the maidens of the kingdom." The crowd erupted in cheers and gasps. The young maidens exchanged excited glances, already dreaming of what it would mean to be chosen by the prince. Mother Folek's eyes widened, and she immediately grabbed Busola's arm. "You see? I told you," she whispered, shaking Busola's arm. "This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. I've always known you were born to become royalty." Busola smiled proudly, flipping her long braided hair over her shoulder. "No one in this village can match my beauty." As the crowd continued celebrating and discussing, no one noticed Adewale walking silently past them with his fishing net slung over his shoulder. Amara sat quietly outside their small house when he returned, her hands busy peeling cassava. She looked up when she heard his footsteps. "You're back early," she said softly. "There was an announcement at the square," Adewale replied. "The Crown Prince is returning. He will be choosing a wife." Amara's face fell slightly. "Ah, that's good news for the maidens," she replied absently. For the next several days, the entire village buzzed with excitement. Girls rushed to the tailor's shop, sewing the finest wrappers and blouses. Mother Folek began preparing, purchasing new beads and oils for Busola. She gave Busola money to have beautiful dresses made for the occasion. While the village prepared for royalty, Adewale and Amara's home remained peaceful. On the eve of the ceremony, Mother Folake gathered Busola and 3 village girls she had hired to help dress her daughter. "You must shine tomorrow," she instructed. "You must smile, dance, charm him. We have waited too long for this moment." Busola assured her mother that the prince would select her. "After all, I am the most beautiful maiden in the village," she stated with pride. Meanwhile, in the small house by the riverside, Adewale lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow the masks would fall. Tomorrow the truth would be revealed.
Happy Hi Bestie! If you enjoyed this story so far, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment where you are watching from. Enjoy!
And he wondered, would Amara still look at him with the same eyes once she knew who he really was? Would she still love him when she realized he was not just a poor fisherman, but the prince every maiden in Ile-Ife was dreaming of? He was truly afraid of what the outcome would be, but he remained calm. The day arrived, and the entire village of Ile-Ife woke to the sound of drums. The village square filled with people almost immediately. Women dressed in their finest wrappers, adorned with beads and head ties. Men wore their best clothes too, standing tall, hoping to glimpse the prince. Children ran about, excited to witness something they would discuss for years. At the center of it all, Mother Folake stood like a queen, supervising everything, ensuring no speck of dust touched her daughter. Busola stood beside her, dressed in the most expensive lace wrapper they could afford. Her skin glistened, her face painted perfectly, her eyes sharp and confident. "Today is your day," Mother Folake whispered to her daughter. "You will not return to this house as an ordinary girl. You will return as the future queen." Busola smiled proudly. "No one can compete with me today." Other maidens also were elegantly dressed and hopeful. Far away by the riverbank, Amara prepared a simple meal of yam and palm oil. She could hear the drums from the palace square, but she paid them no attention. She had no business with royalty, no place in the gathering. Her life was here with Adewale, simple and quiet. She had woken that morning feeling strangely happy. She didn't know why, but her heart felt light, almost like she was expecting something good without knowing what it was. Adewale, on the other hand, was unusually quiet. He barely ate. He sat outside under the mango tree, staring at the sky like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. When Amara came out to sit beside him, she noticed the way he kept looking toward the village. "Are you not going to the square?" she asked. Adewale smiled faintly. "No. My place is here." Amara blushed lightly and looked away. Her heart danced at his words, though she didn't fully understand why. At the palace square, the atmosphere was electric. The king sat on his golden throne, elders and chiefs gathered around him. Then the royal gong sounded. The crown prince had arrived. But when the crowd looked around, they didn't see anyone. The king's voice thundered across the square. "My people, today is the day my son, Prince Oluwaseun, will choose a wife. But before he does, you must know something important. My son returned to this village many moons ago. But he did not come as a prince. He came as a common man to live among you, to see with his own eyes, and to find a woman who will love him not for his crown, but for his heart. Although I didn't favor the idea when he first shared it with me, he made me understand. You all didn't recognize him because he had been away for a very long time." The entire square fell into shocked silence. People looked at one another, confused. The king's eyes scanned the crowd. "Today you will meet the true prince." Suddenly, the crowd parted as the king's guard stepped aside. And there, walking slowly and confidently toward the throne, was Adewale, dressed in fine royal regalia, head high, eyes calm. It took a moment for the crowd to recognize him. Gasps filled the air. "Ah! It's Adewale the fisherman. It's not possible. Adewale is the prince? Mother Folake's mouth fell open. Her legs trembled. Busola's face turned pale. She couldn't believe her eyes. The man they had mocked, rejected, humiliated, he was the prince all along. Adewale stood before his father and bowed deeply. The king stood and embraced him. "My son," the king said proudly. "You have chosen wisely." Adewale turned to the crowd, his voice strong and clear. "I apologize for the deception. Today, I won't be choosing a wife. We are here to celebrate my return from the city after so many years away studying. There is plenty of food and drink to go around. Make merry. As for a wife, you all know I already found one. She is more valuable than gold." "Son, where is she?" the king asked. Adewale smiled softly. "She is not here. She does not know she is married to a prince." Mother Folake's heart raced painfully. She grabbed Busola. "No, no, this can't be happening." And with that, she collapsed and was rushed out of the palace square. When she regained consciousness, she was filled with regret. Her stepdaughter, the girl she had called worthless, the girl she had thrown into the arms of a poor fisherman, was now the prince's wife. Busola sobbed softly as she watched her mother. Adewale, now known as Prince Oluwaseun, returned with palace guards to his hut to bring Amara to the palace. He walked toward her, dressed like a prince, his eyes filled with love. Amara stood frozen, her mouth open. And before she could say a word, he stopped in front of her and said softly, "Forgive me for hiding who I am. I wanted to know if you would love me without the crown." Tears filled Amara's eyes. All the kindness, the love, the quiet ways he cared for her, it all made sense now. She embraced him tightly as she continued to sob. 1 week after the shocking announcement, the village of Ile-Ife came alive again, this time for a proper royal marriage ceremony. This was not the quiet, shameful wedding where Amara was handed over like unwanted property. No, this was a grand, colorful, and unforgettable celebration befitting the marriage of a prince and his chosen queen. The palace square was decorated with palm fronds, colorful fabrics, and clay pots filled with fresh flowers. Royal drummers beat the talking drums with pride, their rhythms echoing across hills and streams. The entire village gathered, dressed in their best attire. Dancers swirled and leaped. Singers praised the names of the bride and groom. Amara stood at the entrance of the palace courtyard dressed in the richest George wrapper, her head adorned with a sparkling coral bead crown, gold earrings dancing on her ears. Her smile radiated like sunshine, her eyes glowing with joy. The elders, chiefs, and palace priests conducted the traditional rites one after another. Kalanut was broken. The royal wine was poured. The village women screamed excitedly when Amara knelt gracefully and offered a cup of palm wine to Prince Oluwaseun as tradition demanded. Prayers were offered, and the celebration continued late into the night with drumming, dancing, laughter, and feasting. 2 months after her marriage ceremony, Queen Amara returned to her stepmother's house and made peace with her, assuring her that she remained the mother she knew. Mother Folake and Busola begged her for forgiveness, and she forgave them. She returned to the palace and lived happily with her husband, the prince. Some years later, after the king passed, Prince Oluwaseun was crowned king. Together they ruled the land with fairness and justice. They had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. They lived happily ever after.
Hi bestie, kunyafu hivi kumyeshawa uruang. If you enjoyed the story so far, don't forget to like and subscribe for part 2. Comment where you are watching from and I will reply with my favorite emoji. Thank you.